speed of the music is bringing. We're flames in the fire that keeps burning. We're inviting the night in. Welcome, my heart so full, I'm devoting myself to the night. There's no motive, we're just listening, we're existing.
at the call. Think about it, ring won't tell you what I saw. When you break it up, you'll see who had it all. You had it all. You said you wanted to fall into oblivion. Forget about the world we're living in. Fall into oblivion, 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 oblivion. I'm going in. Fall into oblivion. Fall into oblivion. Forget about the world we're living in. Fall into oblivion, 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 oblivion. I'm going in. You can't fall asleep when you're counting stars. Get it together. Your mind can't sleep when you let it serve. And now you wanna see me fall. From a quarter mile, I can see you at the call. Think about it, ring won't tell you what I saw. When you break it up, you'll see who had it all. You had it all. You said you wanted to fall into oblivion. Forget about the world we're living in. Fall into oblivion, 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 oblivion. I'm going in. Fall into oblivion. Fall into oblivion. Forget about the world we're living in. Fall into oblivion, 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 oblivion. I'm going in.
Far away, they came to us with knowledge. They changed our world, then left us without warning. They will return the day when they are needed. Our gaze is shifted upwards to the sky. We crave for knowledge, for in the unknown. Our time has come to find what we once
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to CEA R6 on Twitch. We're going to be watching Penn State take on Rochester's black team, and I think it's going to be a really good match today. I hope you brought your vitamin C because it's about to be one hell of a sick game we're about to watch here. How about you, C-Daps?
Yeah, I'm definitely excited because this is Invite League. As you know, these are two of the top 16 teams that we have on display for CEA. Both these teams will be fighting in the Lancelot division of Invite, as this game does have implications onto playoffs as the season does go down. Penn State is looking for that final win that can secure them their spot in the playoffs in the next couple of weeks.
Oh, it's going to be absolutely fantastic. It's going to be one hell of a game we're going to be watching here. First map, it's going to be Border. It's going to be interesting because Rochester Black is going to be on attack first. What can we see from this team going forward?
Yeah, there is a sort of saying that a lot of people have an invite that you don't take Penn State to Border, but it does seem as if Rochester is Definitely feeling themselves just a little bit. And speaking of that, Penn State's roster will be comprised of C Nacho, Destroyer, Vidge, Jaws, and Epic.
And it looks like Rochester Black's going to be bringing Exile to the table, Deletionist, BG, Smooth, Mythic, and Nest.
And so,
Who-
based on the stats as we look here, I think on the Penn State side, the players to watch will definitely be Vidge and Destroyer, as Vidge is one of the top fraggers in the entire league as we're going forward. He's rocking a 1.74 KD at 127 kills. But as you look over towards the Rochester side, it's a bit more spread out, but it does seem as if Nest KD wise is looking pretty strong with a 1.36 and leading his team with 75 kills.
Absolutely. So it looks like here in a couple minutes, the match is about to get started. We're just making sure everybody's ready before we get this game going because this is going to be a game of absolute desperation. Who wants to take it? I don't know. We're going to have to see how it plays out as both teams are scrambling for as many points as this is the last match for some of them.
Yeah, and now we will go ahead and get underway as we go towards a border. As we said earlier, Penn State will be defending first, and I do think that this map is going to be played out entirely on bans. These bans are going to be very important as we see forward, and Penn State will be going ahead and removing the first attacker.
And our first attacker, it looks like it's going to be an absolute swift pick. They know exactly where they want to pull off, and it's Jackal. We've seen Jackal pull off just about every match so far that we've been able to cast together. As Jackal, especially playing on those second or rooftops of some of the buildings with these different maps, is able to clear out a large portion of these maps, as well as key any roamers that are moving around the sites and allow to hone in on them and get their team together, working together and taking them down fast and allow them to get more map security and more map control as the round progresses.
Yeah, and now with both of Rochester's bans going off the board, that is a Capitao and an Echo being a pretty default ban for plant denial, but it is really interesting to see the Capitao being taken off the board as he does bring an insane kit that allows a lot of plant with those two smokes, as well as removing any strong anchors with those firebolts. And speaking of strong anchors, Mira does also go off the board, so those bulletproof panes of glass are going to be taken away, and it'll make it just that little bit extra ease as they go into sight.
And with that ban, the attacking side isn't going to be able to look in the mirror at themselves. So hopefully they address to be prepared for action today. As it looks like RIT is going to go for Gridlock, Sophia, Thatcher, Thermite, and IQ, respectively from left to right, as well as on the PSU side, Smoke, Mozzie, Jaeger, Maestro, and Cade. As we do have a switch off on Exile going from the Thick Lock to the Canadian known as Buck.
Yeah, and that buck pick is definitely going to be very strong as when you take towards armor, you do want to go below and use that Master Key shotgun to help destroy any, you can help your IQ destroy any gadgets, as well as you can just go ahead and blast open the entire floor so there's no safe spots for those thick anchors, as you can see with the Maestro, maybe the Kaid, possibly even the Smoke playing behind a shield. It could just, their positions could just be taken away entirely.
Yep, you got an exact point, but at the same time, if the numbers on either team decide to start to dwindle, those holes created by that Master Key can also allow a roamer the chance to take down a plant or even get somebody below who's not looking or even paying attention to that lower side vertical. But we're going to have to see how this ends up as the round is now started. First round, Rochester Black versus Penn State.
Yep, and so some initial drone work and a little bit of gadget checks coming out from the RIT side, looking more towards the east side of the map. Possibly going to try to be taking Fountain here, but it does seem Vidge is already in a very strong position and goes ahead and takes off Exile from the map, and that is the buck gone. So everything we just talked about with that soft destruction is instantly taken off the board.
Boy, this guy is good at Vidya games. I don't know about you, but he just deleted Exile as he tried coming through that doorway. But here comes Mythic. He finds Vidge right in the face, and that's emptying the brain pan from the back as Nest and teammates start pushing in through that bottom office area. Deletion is coming in through the bottom of the east side. And it's going to be back to the drones again. A little bit of a slower pace now that Vidge is off the board. They know they have a little bit more map control on that entire east side for more or less, as it seems like most of the team, actually the entire rest of the defending team, is either roaming or holding upstairs. This is going to take a little bit of time off of the timer for now, but they have a lot in spare as they still have about 1:40 left after I'm done talking.
Yeah, and that initial flurry of picks came out, but after that, the rest of the round has been a little bit quiet as the rest of these defenders are going to be sticking to holding their ankles and trying to deny any sort of entry. But speaking of that entry, a breaching charge will go ahead and pop open the fountain wall and create a good line of sight and entryway for these RIT attackers to come in. However, they might just run into this kind of a cheeky angle from Destroyer sitting on top of this barricade waiting for anybody to come in fountain. But speaking of that, he will just go ahead and fall off and take a more safe approach.
Now things are starting to heat up here as the seriousness meter starts spiking as we see most of RIT getting themselves ready to push into that backside wall through offices, but we do have one roamer, Mozzie. Mozzie's coming up behind, but Nest finds C-Nacho, and oof, talk about deleting him. That's gone out of the way. They have nobody left roaming. It's all on-site anchors. We're going to have to keep going forward here as the bullets are starting to fly back and forth. It's looking like a world war out there.
Yeah, and speaking of that, Jaws is going to be holding a nice long angle with that TCSG, in addition to Epic also holding a very similar angle with that all-powerful 81 bullets of the Alda. But Destroyer is playing a little bit close with that SMG-11, trying to stop this plant, but Mythic will just go ahead and start typing it on the laptop. Epic will go ahead and take out Deletionist as Destroyer's gas grenade does claim a new victim. A Nitrocell below from Jaws does not connect, and the diffuser does go down. Destroyer goes in and swings out and tries to get some pot shots, but unfortunately they will not connect, and it does seem to be a little bit hectic of a retake position.
And we're back. We're watching Destroyer of Worlds start coming through. They didn't realize his name was Fluffy, and he comes through as John. Joss comes up behind and kills BG Smooth. And that's it, as Destroyer and Smooth decide that that's it for this entire round, and they take the first one. That's Defenders, round one.
Yeah, that's typically what you do expect, as for some of these teams that really know how to play border, they will be able to lock down that armory site in a way that makes it almost impossible to fully take control of. But what really is interesting about this map is how you play the other sites. Seeing as we will be going to Ventilation Workshop, we will see this castle being brought out by Epic and really trying to expand out the control of the Penn State defenders all the way back upstairs into the similar site that we just saw.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting because a lot of people, they rag on the castle pick because when castle putting down those walls, it can potentially push you into a corner you didn't realize was there until the attackers put pressure on you. But a lot of these teams have methodically thought of the different ways that they could use castle and not have those problems. For instance, the double door on Aqua Balcony on Coastline. A lot of people are starting to castle that up and open a rotate to the right to stop the double window from causing too much havoc at that point. Because if you have somebody on the double window and no one's really able to counter that peak, it can cut the site almost in half, and you can even look into the rotate into the next site on the Hookah Balcony area.
Yeah, and definitely it does sort of create a block of entry. But speaking of blocking entry, the Penn State defenders have opted to go ahead and take Clash, who can just by herself use that electric shield to really slow down attackers and make it all that extra more difficult to take any sort of control.
Very much so, and on top of that too, a lot of players rather not push Clash by themselves. The reason being is if you're playing a team that knows what they're doing, close by in a corner somewhere is going to be the support. Clash will lure you in, and then they just rip you apart in meat grinder. So they're going to have to really play smart here, as Clash can delay the push by the Thermite onto that wall if they decide to go that way. Or if Clash is by themselves, she just kind of eats up your time. And time is a valuable thing as an attacker. It's always fleeting. It's always going away. And as we see here, Deletionist now finds the first of the castle barricades on that front door, as he's already gone through CCTV, and he's starting to look around. Again, up top, we see the Destroyer sitting on that top barricade piece, looking into offices, trying to see, but they already know he's there. They're trying to fire at him, trying to get him to fall back. But it just doesn't seem like it's going to work. Destroyer holding that hard angle, getting ready with the SMG-11 to try and get a frag coming through that doorway.
Yeah, and it's definitely in this instance looking like C Nacho is going to be working more as a sort of invincible drone, but now some Vidge is going to take this attack as the attackers are pushing in towards Fountain, removing those cancel barricades and trying to make their push from this direction. C Nacho has gone ahead and rotated over as Vidge takes a more passive approach. There's going to be some buck shotgunning here, opening up these crazy lines of sight as C Nacho does opt to just whip out his pistol, which is a secondary gun, but can still rip through some attackers depending on where you land on here. There's going to be some shots from Nest as the rest of the team is pushing in backside to try to get this pinch. Nest will go ahead and remove the Clash off the board, and Vidge is going to run away, trying to flee with his life.
As Vidge decides to walk over towards CCTV as a rotate, gonna be holding that in the backside. Because if the attackers get too focused on the attack and no one's watching their backside, as we're seeing here, Vidge is taking down BG Smooth. Oh, that's gotta hurt. Vidge has got absolutely no health left, which means the Thatcher didn't hit him at all. BG's gonna wanna look at that one again and try to fix that the next time. Because again, Vidge is still holding that CCTV, but he gets fined by Nest. My goodness gracious, the infestation is now started.
Yeah, now with 45 seconds left on the board, it is a 4v3, but Destroyer actually will be going down 50 HP. I was going to say that the smoke is still on the board and can waste about 30 seconds with those incredibly dangerous gas grenades. The rest of these defenders are still on site, just waiting patiently for RIT to make their move and sort of react off of this. Mythic is going ahead and setting up outside of the B bomb site, trying to go for some sort of window plant in conjunction to the vertical control right here. Deletion does go ahead and destroy Destroyer as Exile peeks in and takes out Epic. Now in a 1v4 situation, Jaws is in a little bit of a discomfort, but he will go and whip out the shotgun and take out Nest, take some more shots over towards another player. God, try to yeet the C4, but the Buck is too smart and goes ahead and backs off. Now there's 37 seconds left and it's not looking too good, but he does go ahead and down Exile as the rest of his team sets up for some more passive post-plant angles.
Jaws is already at a 2K. He's got to play this correctly if he's going to try even have a chance to winning this one. It's currently a 2v1. He's got like half health left. Mythic coming in and sees his face and says, no, I don't think so, and puts a harpoon right through it, and that's the end of the Jaws movie as we know it.
Yeah, Jaws definitely is a very lethal player with that SMG-11 shotgun combination, but a 1v4 situation did seem to be just a little bit too much for him to handle by himself.
Yeah, it just didn't seem in the realms of possibility. Unfortunately for him, he did try his best. There wasn't much else he could really do at that point in time. But again, there's always going to be the next round. That's a 1-1. We're now at a tie. They've got more than enough opportunity to bring this back. We've still got a whole lot of this map left to play. I can't wait to see how they turn this around.
Yeah, now we will see C Nacho taking the Goyo this time. He did 6th pick off the Goyo to the Clash, but it does seem as if he's going to go ahead and stick this pick, as RIT did take a little bit of extra time, a little bit. They had to set up a whole lot before their execute, so maybe bringing this Goyo and being able to just nuke the entire site with fire will prove to be the correct choice.
We'll have to see if he becomes the infection we know and love that brings the burning sensation, as Goyo is now the new operator on the defensive side, as well as Jaws still using that mute. And then we've got Destroyer still sitting on that smoke pick, both of them holding up with the shotguns and SMG-11s. Again, Vidge going on for that massive roam with Jaeger. We'll have to see how that turns around, as he's done a little bit of action, but he's been countered quite fast by the supporting players close to the frag that he gets. Once they find him, they seem to almost corral him in a way and then try to take him off the board, which has been more or less a positive advantage for them, because as we've seen, especially with those first couple of kills that Vidge has gotten, he's quite lethal if given the chance and the time to make those plays, to allow him to move, and they've definitely taken his legs from underneath him so far.
Yeah, Vidge is one of those players that you don't want to have him with the complete freedom to run rampant, but as RIT is doing a very good job sort of corralling and minimizing his impact, as the IQ will go ahead and take some aggressive map control, as so will Exile, and Vidge is just going to lay waiting in Fountain, trying to find and understand the exact path that these attackers want to take.
Yeah, again, things are playing slightly slow. We are seeing a bit of a pickup on the gameplay here. as it looks like Rochester's already opting to try and get in there and try and cause some duels, as they kind of know the pattern so far. It's been rather easy for them to pick up that the roaming has not been hilariously huge, but it looks like Vidge has decided to take Exile off the board and send him packing. But again, now the rest of the team is coming, and they know where Vidge is. They're going to be locking into his position, but Vidge has fallen back. He's decided to pick up the Destroyer post on top of that barricade, looking into the offices area. It's now Nest, as well as Deletion is trying to push into those offices, but now that Vidge is up on that top barricade piece, we'll have to see how this turns out. And it looks like he's fallen off and gone back to the main area. We're back over towards C Nacho, who's trading blows with BG, and BG just takes that SG to the face, and my God, good night. He is down and he is out.
Yeah, the TCSG is a weapon that can definitely rip through any hopes that these attackers have, but Deletion just goes ahead and takes an entry duel onto Vidge and takes him off the board in a 3v4 instance, but Deletion is taking a good bit of damage from the UMP of Epic down below. Using those holes that the attackers were making to their advantage is sort of a good strategy that you want to employ if you're gonna hold a site from below. Deletion will be using his lifeline to make even more holes that might become a double-edged sword.
Very much so. Those double-edged swords, man, they cut you one way or they cut you the other. It's still a 3v4 as Nest decides to make it a little more even by taking out the Destroyer of Worlds. Ooh, that's going to help a hell of a lot, but we still got Deletionist on 2 health. Nest is just underneath 75, and the only one really with any sort of health ability right now would be Mythic. We're going to have to see some big plays by him, but it looks like Jaws smells blood in the water, and he's circling over towards security.
Yeah, now some more drone work will go out, but time is dwindling. C Nacho is playing close on this window, trying to deny any entry, because that does seem to be where RIT plans on defusing the bomb. Here, Epic has rotated over towards main stairs and holding a nice angle and takes out Deletions, who was a little bit weak, but still here, C Nacho goes ahead and takes out for his second kill, but will be refragged out by Mythic, and with 3 seconds left here, the bomb does have to be planted, and he is in a state of complete vulnerability, and Epic will capitalize to end the round for Penn State.
That whole play by C Nacho underneath the window, taking out the guy that just comes in over top of him, that was a really, really good play on his part. That was allowed to take the legs out from underneath the attack and allow his teammates to come in and finish Mythic off as he tries to get that last bit of points by putting down the diffuser, but unfortunately, Epic was just right behind him, laughing a little bit in the background as he slightly executes him. We're going to have to see how this turns around, as right now, our defending team, PSU, is up by 1.
Yeah, and that's definitely on the back of C Nacho right there. Actually was having a great round, went ahead and took 2 picks, and really, that Goyo pick did help to slow down everything. As soon as those shields did get popped, that did spell the end, because it funneled in those RIT attackers to exactly where Penn State wanted them to be.
Yeah, and we're going to go back to some clips here. And just taking a look back, Vidge again, he's been pretty much held back and forced to fall back in several occasions here. As again, that Goyo is creating a bit of a problem for RIT. As on several occasions so far, they've been pushed back. They have faltered. They have had a little bit of a hesitation to push in, as we're watching C Nacho again taking out BG Smooth as he tries to peek him, and it's just not smart. That slug throwing shotgun does serious damage as he's held the same angle, killing him almost 3 rounds in a row as Deletionist control all deletes Vidge as he walks in to the other bomb site up top, and just that was the end of that. It looks like Rit's going to be taking the top end, but there's still 3v4. Again, we're in this the situation where Rit is down by 1. They have a lot of health off the board, and PSU has a lot of health that they can use to just more or less goof around with. It gives them a lot of different chances here.
Yeah, and actually, we will see everybody going up towards Armory, as we did have a little bit of technical difficulties on the side of Spades. He did go ahead and cast the wrong stream, unfortunately. But now, as a Nest, we'll just be taking a good amount of map control inside jail, trying to use IQ scanner from beneath to remove any of those pesky gadgets that the defenders have placed down. Some more drone work will go down, as so will C Nacho using a really clever angle of Nest to remove him from his position. Now it does seem as if the Maestro will be aggressively peeking the hatch and taking the IQ off the board, as Epic is just going to fall back and reload that gun with 81 bullets. But now Exile will go ahead and take out Jaws on the Kaid from below using his buck shotgun to make that happen. We'll go and throw a nade up towards the metal doors, but will not, unfortunately not find a victim this time.
And we're looking at some of these gunfights just getting traded back and forth as Exile, Deletionist, BG Smooth, and Mythic are still on the board. Ness has been taken out, and now they've decided to open up that long haul again, where the last couple of times we've seen C-Nacho just absolutely delete everybody that walks through there. But there we go with Exile with his double kill, and we're going to go back over to... Hold on here. My parsec is again mixing up. C-Daps, can you take over?
Yeah, unfortunately, that was actually Destroyer opening up a rotate hole for Vidge, but went ahead and just dropped him straight onto the waiting buck down beneath. Epic is trying to drop these angles, but the rest of these attackers are just storming straight into sight, but they will meet the smoke canister of Destroyer. But a 4v2 instance, as bodies are going down, Exile goes ahead and takes out Destroyer and leaves in a 1v4 situation. He's getting blasted from every side, but Deletionist will land the final blow and go ahead and tie this game up at 2-2.
Yeah, and as we just watched Epic, as the meatball man himself, the Spaghetti Maestro, tried getting out through that window, but there was just nowhere for him to go. And just like strained pasta, he was left all wet and left in the dirt.
Yeah, it's definitely not what you want. You know, having the smoke and the Maestro as the final two left alive isn't the worst instance to have. Like, those are two very clutchable operators, but it did just seem as if the positions of RIT was just too strong for them to overcome, as they did play that position of having the man advantage to their best way possible.
Yeah, that extra man advantage, it can be a massive hindrance to one side and a huge advantage to the other side. Especially watching that round, we definitely can see that RIT is learning. They're seeing the patterns, and they are doing their best to put them in their best possible position to win. Those first couple of rounds there, with the two losses that they picked up at the very beginning, they were being outflanked. They were being taken over. Vidge was making sure that they're being pushed on certain angles, causing more pressure. But this time, they decided as a team to go through that one wall, and I don't know whether or not I wasn't able to see it, but last time we watched C-Nacho with that SG take out BG twice through that wall. But this time, he just wasn't there, or it just wasn't working for him, or whatnot. But it went back and forth there for a minute, and it really definitely helped as they loaded up as a whole team to go through that door.
Yeah, and speaking of that, we do have to say that Vidge's roam is still being quite effective. As we talk about some of the times, sometimes the score isn't necessarily the entire story, as he may be 3-4 right now, but he is really forcing this RIT attack to slow down. He is buying about 1:30 seconds here, but speaking of that, he is going to be aggressive on a punch hole spawn peak, but unfortunately will not find a victim, as it also seems as if C-Nacho has gone ahead and take this MP5 ACOG to an aggressive spawn peak. But at this instance, there isn't anybody going over towards East Stairs or Jail, which is exactly where Vidge and C-Nacho are aggressively playing.
We're going to have to see how this goes again. It seems like RIT has decided to play more towards each other to allow for that supporting player to come in against the roamer, which a 2v1, I mean, a roamer can take that out if done properly, or even just given enough luck. But at the same time, it's going to be a huge problem if he's able to take that out, or if he's not, it completely allows him to pull somebody off the board with a minimal amount of damage. But as we see Exile get taken down by Vidge, this is huge, as Vidge is now roaming around and he's given that freedom. We're going to have to see what happens, as the supporting players were not there to get the refrag, but they are now cautious that Vidge is on that bottom floor and he's roaming around somewhere in a corner. Back over to Mythic. We just see a little bit of drone work there, trying to find Vidge and take him off the board here, as RIT is slowly starting to move in. Vidge got seen by that drone. He's in the bottom of workshops, and now they know, and they're kind of working their way towards him. You see Nest and Deletionist both coming out at two different separate angles and two different doorways, now working together, try and push Vidge out of there or get the frag on him. Which one comes first, I don't know, as both of them are kind of being as cautious as possible, as Vidge finds both of them. There goes the IQ as he turns around, but Vidge gets killed by Deletionist. There's that supporting player I was talking about, but again, this time Vidge has a supporting player. C-Nacho comes down and takes down the Deletionist, and it's going to be just up to the last two members, BG Smooth and Mythic, to try and clutch this round together on a 2v4.
Yeah, those were some great trades coming out from C-Nacho and Vidge, respectively, as he will go ahead and take some shots as he's trying to flank these players in CCTV. But speaking of that, Destroyer does try to take a shield and almost loses his life because of it. C-Nacho will finally take out the Thatcher of BG Smooth and leave a 1v4 situation for Mythic to try to overcome.
As we go back towards the attacking side, the defenders win it as C-Nacho walks in and kills the myth, the man, the legend, known as Mythic.
Yeah, it's definitely been a... This entire game's just been back and forth. It's offense wins ones, defense wins ones, offense wins one, defense wins one. It's an absolute slugfest, and no team can really seem to get a whole lot of momentum going forward. We have just seen these same two sides being played, as this last round of defense will be going to Ventilation Room and Workshop.
Yep, and we're going to be seeing no real changes here as the attacking side, again, going for those soft breaches, as well as the Thatcher Thermite for the hard breach and IQ to try and take out any gadgets from below if they decide to go upstairs. But it looks like Exiles decided to pick up on Twitch instead. On the other side, C-Nacho again holding up on the dock operator. And we watched him last time. He was absolutely lethal as he was roaming around his dock. He's a bit of a heavy operator to be doing that, but he did it correctly, making it nice and smooth, coming through the backside, supporting Vidge when he started to get crossed over into the bottom end of Workshop. But again, it comes down to whether or not Rit is able to successfully pin those operators and realize whether or not Vidge, the most main roamer that we've seen so far, has a supporting roamer, as they decided to two-man push him. And although they did take him out, and it looked like Deletionist had hit the upper hand, was able to maybe pick himself back up because it looked like a bit of a trade. There was the extra guy with C-Nacho was able to clutch out on the kill, and that takes two guys off the board from just the one with Vidge.
Yeah, Doc does have this unique ability to give life with his stem pistol, but he definitely can take it away. But speaking of that, there will be a little bit of a spawn peak coming into C-Nacho, as he does seem to have just that little bit of confidence after that last round. Here, they are opting not to take the Goyo that we saw be so successful on the last first floor defense. But speaking of that, he will just go ahead and rotate onto Armory and play a bit more passive of his initial aggression. There's some upside down repel play coming in from Exiles. He's using that beautiful F2 gun that so many gunners love and adore.
With the high fire rate and the ability to catch that recoil wherever you want, it's a beautiful gun to use, and it puts people down relatively fast too. As we see Nest looking down on the bottom end of East stairwell as the rest of the teammates coming in. Deletion is coming in as the support player, using those impact grenades to possibly open up some holes to get himself some room to move around. As we see up top, C-Nacho still holding Armory. He's holding that up top because they are down in Ventilation and in Workshop. It's just going to be a nice slow pace trudging forward, the war of attrition, if you will, as C-Nacho now knows they're coming from offices. As Nest goes in and Vidge says hello and walks around. There goes Deletion, his control, alt delete. Vidge reloading, trying to find up on that third guy coming into the offices area. And again, there's a fourth, and Exile finds Vidge's head, and that's the end of it, but it doesn't matter. C-Nacho, the support player we know and love, walks in, and there goes Exile. Oh
yeah,
boy.
That was a crazy little instance of this entry, but now we will see after all of the smoke clears, there it is a 4v2 once again as C-Nacho and Vidge. Dual roam does seem a little bit too much to handle, leaving just the Thatcher and the Thermite on the board for RIT. Definitely a good combination of operators that can go ahead and breach whatever they want, but in this instance, there is only a minute left on the clock and not a whole lot of map to control for RIT.
It's going to be very interesting to see. These two guys are going to have to lock it down and really work together and get some good crossfires going, but also be well aware that somebody's going to be coming up behind them eventually. If they wait too long and give way too much time away, which is starting to happen. They've only got 40 seconds left on the clock to get something done here, as they're both still kind of reeling from how well C-Nacho's been doing, and he's deciding to just walk away. He drops out of it, but he decides to rotate back up. He gets caught out in the open. BG Smooth gets the kill on C-Nacho, but is it enough? It's now a 3v2 as they're walking in. Mythic is down less than 25 health, and now there's Destroyer walking in saying, no, I don't think so. You do not smooth this move.
Yeah, now Mythic does go ahead and do a silent drop, but it almost seems like it's a little bit too little too late. Speaking of that, he will just go ahead and give some hope for the rest of his team that are patiently watching him, as he does actually will not be able to take out the castle, and Epic will just ice out this round to finish a 4-2 half on the side of PSU.
Yeah, it was a nice try by the last two members, with Mythic still going in there and trying his absolute best. He got caught off guard by that ump sitting in the corner next to the bomb. But again, it was just too little too late. All the advantages were stacked against them. There were some really good frags trying to push in there, but especially with Destroyer walking up with that SMG-11 and killing anything that they had left in regards to HP pool. Unfortunately, that was just it.
Yeah, and like we've been saying, the timing has been off on RIT. They did take just that little bit of too much extra time to finish out their executes. But now, as we will see the side swap, it will be an entirely different story, as the roles have been fully reversed, and RIT will be taking the defensive side.
It's going to be interesting because, like you said, there's that saying, you don't take you don't take PSU to border. But we're going to have to see how this one plays out. RIT is going to have to really double down. They did get 2 wins, so they're not completely pulled off of the board here. But again, it's going to be very much about how they can consolidate those round points and keep it together, keep themselves alive, and pick off as many of the PSU attackers as they can. Especially with Vig now being able to go wherever he wants and not being able to be pushed in by drones. It's going to be very much up to the intel gathering by maybe the Maestro and other people on those cameras to see where they're pushing from to give them the maximum advantage.
Yeah, it does seem that there might be some sort of dual roam in the instance for RIT, as both Exile and Deletionist are taking some very strong operators in the form of Mozzie and Jaeger, respectively. The rest of the team is gonna sit more on an anchor, as this team is split in half. Some drones are coming out towards Exile, playing in jail, and his exact position might not be fully known, as Deletionist does go ahead and come over and support and set up a nice crossfire.
And we're back over towards the middle with Deletionist moving around as Jaeger in that middle foyer area. And again, back to Destroyer. He's walking in his butt, coming in through that back end of security. It's just, again, going to be a nice, slow game, trying to get as much intel as possible. But we're about to see our first contact as, oh, there we go. Destroyer getting some shots. And he falls back, trying to keep himself alive. I think he knows there's at least 2 over there now. And he's decided not to take the attack, but he's decided to flank around, see if he gets anything as he runs right into Workshop. And here we go as C-Nacho finds Deletionist. And there we go. The first of many to be going down is, again, it looks like Destroyer's trying to get that mad flank going on and try and kill off these roamers. And the roamers are starting to get put on the back foot here as C-Nacho and Destroyer are working together to push them back. Destroyer holding one angle, C-Nacho on the other, but here we go. Exile comes down to help his brethren out, and C-Nacho gets put back to the depths of the ocean. And here comes a frag in by Destroyer just to push him back. But again, coming in through, he finds Mozzie, but wow, Exile puts him down with a crouch shot to the face, and Destroyer is put off. He's out like a bucket on fire.
Yeah, definitely exiled him out of the rest of this round. And looking at the time, I would have to say that Exile's roam has been highly effective, as he's gone ahead and taken 2 players off the board, stayed alive, and killed a total of 2 minutes. But now Vig will be playing beneath outside the window, trying to use that lifeline to take out the player playing in half wall. Speaking of that, Exile has gone into a sneaky position inside of CCTV, as Nest will go ahead and take out Jaws in the head with the SMG-11, but Exile's position is not known, as Epic does go ahead and vault straight through the door, but the entire attack still relies on the back of Vig in a 3v1 situation. He takes out 1 and is going to try to use his stuns to use it as sort of a drone tool to find out exactly where people are playing. He will go ahead and pop out and miss the head of the Kaid and take a lot of damage for his endeavors. Peek once again and will down him this time, but now the players are coming in from behind. Diffuser's out on CCTV and not a whole lot that he can do.
Yeah, I mean, he just turned around and absolutely pulled Kaid right off the board. But again, he's got barely any health, and the rest of Rit was like, I don't think so. They walked away. They said, this round's done. We're not taking the fight, which is a smart plan. There's no reason to push. The diffuser's well out of the way. And now Rit picks up the first defensive round, bringing this lead down to 1.
Yeah, and that definitely did take the wind out of the sail of PSU as they did finally manage to win 2 attacks or 2 defenses in a row. That's their first time any of these teams have been able to string together multiple rounds. But now that is over, and possibly RIT might try to get some momentum of themselves as they go towards this ventilation room workshop site. They're going to be setting up in a very similar way, actually, going to be. Yep, almost identical lineup to how our Penn State played it, except the addition of the Mozzie will be roaming in conjunction with the Jaeger and most likely the Castle playing upstairs after putting down those barricades.
Yeah, we're just going to have to see, because last time Exile playing as that Mozzie did a lot of damage and a lot of work, but at the same time, as you look into what exactly happened, there was a lot of angles and just aiming was just a little bit off. He was able to crouch out of the way of a couple different bullets coming his way. He didn't necessarily get the drop on them, but he definitely finished the kills, which is going to be huge in his favor. We have to see how well he does this time around. I know he's probably a little bit shaken knowing that those were quite lucky kills, but he got them. He's satisfied what was needed to be done. He got the kills. They're out of the way. It's now for him time to move forward and work upon that momentum to continue fragging for his team as a roamer.
Yeah, and if the first round is any sort of omen to the rest of these defensive rounds for RIT, maybe Exile will be securing himself as a very prominent and key figure in any sort of success that RIT has forward. But Vidge will be going ahead and just getting a little bit aggressive, trying to take out as many cams as possible as C Nacho and the Thermite are going to be droning out and finding the exact setup of how RIT is playing. Now, the rotate holes are opened, and there is a lot of lines of sight into this B bomb site that most likely the smoke will be trying to hold by himself in conjunction to the players up top. There's some more drone works going out, and there is a full triple roam upstairs in Armory that we come to expect when you're defending the first floor sites.
It's going to be very difficult for Smoke to hold that and play, especially Nest is going to be very much tested this round as all those extra lines of sight completely nullify his ability to bottleneck and use those smoke grenades to deadly effect to stop an attack. And Vidge already getting the entry frag on Exile. This is the start of a round that's going to be absolutely crazy as we're already seeing Destroyer getting those frag grenades ready, bouncing it off the top, and Deletionist finds Jaws. That's a headshot. Oof. Vidge finding Mythic. That's the end of that one. And Epic also grabbing Deletionist. There goes the roam upstairs. It is all down to Nest and BG in the bottom on site. There a lot of things are open. It's going to be very difficult for them to hold down this against a 4v2.
Yeah, and speaking of that 4v2, the main issue that these defenders are going to run into is the excess of time that these attackers still have. There's a whole lot of soft breach still left on the board as we're seeing Destroyer go ahead and make his name known and destroy the entire floor of Armory, really making it difficult for Nest or Big BG Smooth to find any safe place to sit and anchor in as the rest of the team seems to try to constrict them and take site control.
Now we're watching Vidge upstairs. He's trying to get an angle on the Maestro. The Maestro's starting to move around, but those steel beams are in the way, and he does not have any jet fuel to melt them. So he's going to kind of see what happens here as BG decides to start rotating back into sight, trying to keep down the amount of map control and the amount of site control this attacking team has, even though they outnumber them 2-1. We're going to be watching over on the front doors. IQ kind of starting to probe in and out as turns around, and it looks like Smoke's going to try and do a bit of a cheeky peek there, but C Nacho had Nest's number, and as Maestro puts down the Buck player, Vidge comes in, and that's the end of BG Smooth, as that two-man defending team just got absolutely overwhelmed by numbers.
Yeah, and it was really smart of this Penn State attack to sort of split into these two teams of two. That was a very smart call as there was the crossfires onto each of these defenders, sort of isolating them out into instances where they could not play together and could not use any team synergy to try to overcome. As soon as you have a 2v1, it's not that easy to shoot at two people at once who are on complete different sides of you, unless you're doing some crazy bolo flicks and killing one flicking around 180 degrees and trying to get another headshot. Not a whole lot you can do.
Yeah, it gets really, really difficult, especially when they're coming in from several different angles and they're not close to each other. Or in the case what just happened with the Maestro, even though he's got a lot of rounds in that machine gun, it just was not enough to stop the onslaught of human wave tactics that we just watched, where Vidge came in, he killed up on him, and that was just the end of it. As Ness tried to peek out the IQ coming in through that front door, and it just was not there to help him. C Nacho had his number. The shotgun was not the greatest pick to try and peek that, although it was at close range. There was not much of a target for those pellets to hit with. And unfortunately, again, that 4v2 just did not go their way. So now Penn State up again by 2. Rochester's really got to work back here to try and bring that back to nil. But they've got their work cut out for them, as they've seen. Like, they had a 3-man run upstairs, and it was pulled apart rather quickly. Even though PSU did take a couple of casualties, they had a commanding ability to walk in there, regardless of how the defense was going. I almost could chalk it up to taking gunfights when they didn't need to. It looked like Vidge was able to take 2 of them out just by sitting on the AC window. As our 9th round is now coming to a start, we're having everyone starting to move in. Again, it's going to take a little bit of time for them to start moving in, but it looks like Penn State's confidence is starting to implode.
Yeah, they're definitely trying to find their momentum and really take this map to their own strengths. However, we will see an influx of more soft breachers being brought as Nacho does go ahead and pick up the Ash. But what's interesting to see is that Mythic did opt to not take the castle anymore. So that extra soft breach can be used and allocated in different ways, such as seeing this really nice long line of sight for Nacho to hold any rotation inside of the site through doors. Maybe if any of those roamers try to escape and go back to site, he'll just be there waiting, as the rest of the team is trying to push in and take up some armory control. The Epic will be placing down his exothermic charge and blowing open that reinforced wall in conjunction to Jaws playing with him.
Yeah, and again, Vidge is sitting on that AC unit looking through the window, cutting off the entire rotate for that upper area for the roam. And again, we've got one guy in the fountain area, and the other one was kind of just inside the extra site. But here we go, as we see Exile finding the destroyer and taking him down with ease. There's that Mozzie again. If he gets a couple more frags, he's going to put it absolutely in all advantage to Rit. It's 4v5, but we've seen PSU you have worse odds and come out on top, so we have to see how this goes. It looks like Jaws and the Thermite coming in hard as Epic and Jaws start pushing in, trying to take gunfights. C Nacho taking down the deletionist downstairs as Exile frags back on Vidge.
Yep, and more bullets are being traded everywhere as Mythic goes in and uses a nice prone angle to take off the head of Jaws, but Ness will also get a kill as Exile finishes off Epic and takes out the Epic round for RIT in their comeback.
What an absolutely commanding defense. And again, it's going to go back and forth, left and right, up and down. God, I almost feel like I'm climbing a ladder, going back up and down, left, right, and center here. But again, we've got it within 1. Rit now has to bring it within 0, and that'll give them the chance to maybe frag this one out, which is something that we didn't think was going to happen. As again, PSU, this is their map. It's going to go forward. It's going to be one thing that if they're able to frag out PSU on this one and enter the slugfest and come out victorious, they're going to have a massive advantage going to that second map.
Yeah, this is actually RIT's map choice, which is very interesting as PSU did opt to go ahead and take Cafe, which we will see in a couple of rounds after a short intermission, most likely for round 2 of this map. But we will be returning back to Armory Lockers as the site. So we will see some nice Maestro cams coming out, in addition to Mythic go ahead and getting this default reinforcement. Will most likely be using his Electro Claws to deny any of that. It's most likely going to be seeing a very similar roam from Exile and Deletionist to we saw last time. They did have quite the dynamic duo and were able to kill a lot of time as well as a lot of attackers.
And going back upstairs, we're watching obviously the regular defense that they've been putting up again this time. They again, no castle to be seen. Exile sitting on the Mozzie. We've got Deletionist going again for the Jagger. BG Smooth on his Maestro he loves and absolutely works on so much. Mythic going for Kaid. and Nest sitting on smoke. It's going to be interesting how this goes forward, as we really haven't seen Smoke put in an optimal position yet to utilize those deadly, deadly canisters that we know and love. But again, we're just going to have to wait and see what happens. As Exile still playing downstairs in the security area. This seems to be one of his favorite spots. We're wondering if PSU is caught onto this. Is again, Vidge upstairs on top of that AC unit. He's going to try and get those angles into the next site because we are upstairs now. We are in lockers and armory. And again, Deletion is moving around. He's been seen by the drone more than likely. See Nacho in that front door, comes back outside using that Ash character. He's going to be more or less just waiting for his teammates to get ready for the push. As Ash, we all know that she's able to walk in with those guns that do massive damage. As we're about to see our first point of contact here, as Deletionist is holding a hard angle in that bathroom. Let's see if he comes around the corner. He sees him, bucks on the camera, and Deletionist takes Destroyer right off the board. There's nothing left. The brain pan is emptied and onto the nice marble floors. God, somebody call the maid.
Yeah, and it did seem as if it was a little bit of a missed drone, as Deletionist had gone ahead and rotated very smartly inside a bathroom right behind the drone that Destroyer was sitting on. And now the buck off the board, there's not going to be a whole lot of soft breach coming on from below unless you go ahead and use those lifelines and breaching charge rounds of Ash and Zofia. But the wall is already opened onto Armory with a minute and 20 left on the clock. The execute is most likely going to be going in pretty soon, as Vidge will go ahead and use the lifeline to destroy that shield that usually hides a Smoke, who can just sit there with a very strong shotgun, smoke grenade, and SMG-11 combination. But Sinacho is peeking very aggressively on this sandwich repel, but will most likely go straight into the crosshair of Mythic, as both players are seeming to just tease a little bit, but Sinacho will be getting the better side of that gunfight, as Jaws does go ahead and take out the smoke of Nest as well. A Claymore of Jaws will go ahead and take out the flanking Exile and leave it in a 4v2 instance for the rest of these RIT defenders.
And here comes the human wave tactics as Vidge see Nacho get the extra headshots to finalize this round. A 4v2 against PSU. It looks like they just collapse onto site, trying to find whoever they can and get the frags before everyone else can. It's almost a race to pick up the extra points at that point, as they all come onto site. A few bad tosses in different directions. Mythic holding that angle, unfortunately, as C Nacho decides to peek. He wasn't fast enough to click on the head, and it looks like C Nacho just got there faster, put him down, and that was allowing him to come in through that lockers area, and then the rest of his team again just collapsed on site for those frags.
Yeah, and with that, Penn State has gone ahead and hit that 6-point threshold here, as they will go ahead and secure at least a tie for this map, which, seeing as this is RIT's map choice, is putting them in a very strong position. However, they will try to use their momentum to swing in and probably take this map fully for their own, as in the playoff race, every point does matter incredibly.
Yeah, we're going to have to see how this goes. As like you said, they've got themselves in that spot for the tie at least. We are in match point now, so basically it's their game to lose. We're going to have to see how this goes. They're either going to give up the points to Rochester, or Rochester's going to battle it back, one of the two. But at this point, they've got themselves sitting nicely. We're just going to have to watch to see what happens. Again, BG Smooth putting up those Maestro cams up high, giving lots of viewpoints and a POV that's going to allow them to see the bottom ends of those planting spots and possibly keep the Maestro cam safe. However, we have seen so far, Vidge has been quite vigilant when he looks around, keeping those angles in through the AC. And now we're starting to see Penn State utilize those Claymores on the possible and more probable routes that Exile has been coming through. Exile last round walked into a Claymore and had his feeties blown right off as he tried to do a quick flank, and PSU seems to be learning from this as they completely countered it with that Claymore, and unfortunately, again, Exile walked right into it, and that was just the end of the round for him.
Yeah, and the adaptability is what you always want to see with high-level teams. As soon as you're able to sort of feel out your opponent, if you are able to have that extra adaptation in your strategies and strats, as it's called, it does lead to a very strong position, as Destroyer will go ahead and use a very strong hammer to take out the barricade and open up some lines of sight, trying to pick off any unsuspecting anchors. He gets a little bit aggressive on the armory wall. The rest of the team will be using these pre-placed drones and droning to get extra intel, finding out where the rest of the roamers are, as Exile and Deletionist are still lingering down below.
Yeah, and we already see in our first couple of trade-offs here is Jaws just took 75% of his health off on a weird angle that ended up almost ending his life. Hopefully he kind of gets himself in a better position, as we saw Nest kind of give him a piece of his mind there. But it looks like BG Smooth also using that little hole that the sledge opened up as Destroyer opened up to try and catch those roamers and the anchors off guard. It's now being used against them. So they have to be very, very careful with what they're opening up, because it looks like every time they open something up, RIT starts using it as an advantage rather than a hindrance.
Yeah, and there is a precedent being seen as the rest of these roamers for RIT have gone back to site. But speaking of that, two of the anchors will go off the, actually one of the roamers, one of the anchors will go off the board in conjunction, as two picks are going to go on the side of PSU. But Destroyer will go ahead and accidentally take out Epic, but Vidge will, I guess, get a refrag onto Exile, as C-Nacho uses these underneath angles to take out Nest, leaving it in a 4v1 instance for Mythic, as he does have a TCSG, which is a highly dangerous gun, but there's going to be too much. There's going to be a lot for him to go forward, as Vidge is taken out, but the diffuser goes down. He's going to try to peek out and take a lot of damage from the sledge, as the entire team of PSU seems to be converging on him, as Destroyer will go ahead and take out Mythic and ice out this map for Penn State.
An absolute frag walking in there, taking out Vidge on that left-hand side. He was not looking through that breach hole. I'm guessing he thought there was somebody roaming, but ended up not being so, as Penn State picks up the win on border against RIT.
Yep, and so with that, we do see this a little bit lopsided scoreboard, as Vidge and C-Nacho just absolutely put the team on their back, getting 15 and 13 kills respectively. Exile tried his best with 11 kills to keep up, but the attack of Penn State was just a little bit too much to handle. So we will actually be going ahead and going onto a 5-minute break to let these players go ahead and use the bathroom, maybe get some water, or just talk it over, as when we come back, we will be going to cafe.
And we'll see you in 5 minutes.
All around this empty town, I'm searching for the lost and found. But you don't care, you're unaware. Keep moving like the scars aren't even there. It's in the air like a blazing flare. Just stare, 'cause the flames will burn us. I thought you were the one for me. That's why I gave you everything. Held you close by the stormy seas. Oh, you meant the world to me. I used to kiss your head when you cried for me. Hold your hand while the pain was over. Keep you warm by the roaring sea. You meant the world to me. Oh, you meant the world to me. Oh, you meant the world to me. My darling dear, you're never here. When I'm in pain, you hide and disappear. Like shadows in the atmosphere, charting the stratosphere. Yeah. I prayed for you and kept you near, in hopes you'd chase away my fears. I'm on my own, you made it so, and now I'm chasing nightmares through. I used to run with you through the great big leaves, laugh at you when you laugh at me. Hope for us because I believe the home was No point in blaming you, you did not know. Oh. I thought you were the one for me. That's why I give you everything. Held you close by the stormy seas. Oh, you meant the world to me. Oh, you meant the world to me. Oh, you meant the world to me. Oh, I'm gonna do this on my own. No point in blaming you, you did not know. Oh, oh, I'm gonna do this on my own. No point in blaming you, you did not know. I thought you were the one for me. That's why I keep.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to CEAR 6. We're watching Rochester B versus Penn State, and we're going to be going into Cafe. I can't wait to see what type of coffee and Timbits they bring out to me.
Yeah, definitely leaves the opportunity to get these nice snacks in here as we go to Cafe Dostoevsky. But speaking of that, RIT will stick true to their previous ban and take the Capital off the board. That is an operator with a whole lot of utility and allows a lot of planting to go on. Maybe they just aren't as comfortable on their defense dealing with shooting through smoke. That is very difficult to do, as Penn State will also be taking the Jackal off the board that they did last time on Border.
Yeah, we're going to have to see, again, those operators being pulled off. They've got either lots of utility or the ability to just command the map if played properly from up top. With Jackal off the board, with Capital off the board, it is starting to limit the attacking position, exactly what they can set up for. And again, our first one off the board on the defensive side is Echo, the one guy who can sit anywhere in the map and deny you from planting the bomb. And then on top of that, the second defensive operator pulled off is Mira. I guess nobody's going to be looking at their hair in the mirror this time.
Yeah, and actually, we will have to say that these are identical bans to what we saw on Border, as most of these operators are just very strong in general and can be played in very powerful positions on every single map. But RIT will be electing to go downstairs to kitchen service and cooking, which is sort of an interesting pick, as most people do prefer to defend third floor of cafe. But if you can go ahead and take any sort of rounds on those offsites, it can swing momentum back in your favor quite quickly.
Yeah, and again, we're not seeing too much of a difference here, except Ness is not. Oh, yep, okay. You gonna pick it? Yes. Okay, there we go. And it decides to go from Goyo to mute. Guess he doesn't have a whole lot to say on that subject. Exile again picking up the Mozzie. We also have Jaeger and a couple others coming into this one. Doesn't seem too much of a difference here. Deletionist on Jaeger. BG's opted to go for Doc, and Mythic picking up on Bandit. It's going to make this a rather interesting combo for this defense. Lots of wall denial, as well as the ability to command any sort of intel moves that could be made by the drones of the attacking side. C Nacho using IQ, Destroyer with Sledge, Vidge going up with the Zofia, Jaws picking up Thermite, sorry, not Thermite, Thatcher, and Epic picking up Thermite. It's going to be an interesting round. Lots of soft breach. As we can see, C Nacho's picked up some extra breaching charges to put some extra holes in there, just in case some of the soft breachers go down when they're pushing in. It's going to be one of those maps where I'm pretty sure from the loadout that I'm seeing in front of me that PSU is going to go for a top-down attack, which is smart. They have a large area and train. They are able to open up and really command the site and push those anchors out of their positions, giving them a little bit of pressure while the rest of their team converges on site. But this will all be determined whether or not the roamers are sitting in wait. They can be very, very lethal when they're pushing up and down throughout the white and red stairwells, allowing them to move around with that third stairwell in the Christmas tree area out the front. It's going to be anybody's game at this point, as round one is now down to 2 minutes and 20 seconds. We're getting close to these two teams lighting each other up.
Yeah, and speaking of these roamers and those staircases, it is interesting to see that PSU has elected not to take one of those rotation denial, the flank watch operator of either Gridlock or Nomad to cut any rotations. They are just confident enough in their roam clear. Just go ahead and take the lives of these roamers as they push forward. Vidge is going to go ahead and take up some cocktail control into Piano as Deletionist is playing over towards pallets on white stairs. Vidge and Destroyer are sort of fanning out into a two-pronged attack, trying to pinch out Deletionist's location as Epic's drone will go ahead and spot him with Vidge, taking a bit more of an aggressive stance, checking every corner as he goes forward, and he most likely will be running. Actually, Deletionist goes ahead and uses the hatch to kill a bit more time and run away with his life. But Sinacho has rotated all the way down into first floor and most likely will just be waiting for Deletionist to make his use of one of these staircases, but Vidge will go ahead and take the opening duel onto Exile and take him off the board as Deletionist looks to try to refrag, but both players do seem to know of the presence of the other one and won't be peeking quite yet. Right as I say that, Deletionist does go ahead and peek out onto Vidge, and will try to take out the second, but will not be quite enough to take out Sinacho as he will live with about 25 HP. 51 seconds left on the clock, and it is a 4v3, but not a whole lot has been done towards the site as Destroyer is going to be trying to destroy the floor out beneath him with that big Scottish hammer, but will take some return shots from the Bandit playing below. But now the Bandit batteries are gone, and Epic will most likely be able to try to breach.
And here comes Epic and Josh pushing into that bottom end side of the bakery. As Epic's getting down that thermal barrack charge, he's going to get ready to blow it as there goes the EMP, and the wall is now theirs. Jaws, Epic, out that front part of bakery. They've got a commanding spot because they're cross-firing back and forth. Destroyer on the other side, taking down Ness. BG Smooth, taking down the C-Nacho. Things are starting to get crazy as Josh takes down Mythic. He's going in. BG Smooth crapping on Josh. And now it's just up to Epic. He's putting down that diffuser, and Destroyer comes up behind and made sure that his teammate was nice and safe. Oof. Destroyer up top with that massive hammer. He might not be the soldier we know, but he's the warrior we love. And there goes that last frag. Well done.
Yeah, he definitely commanded that entire train area that we were talking about earlier. He made every hole that he needed as well as played them in a masterful place. I believe he got 2 or 3 kills from above, cutting rotations as RIT scrambled to try to stop the plant, but they just walked right into the loving arms of the sledge playing above.
Talk about the Fluffy the Destroyer of Worlds. He was able to sit up top and take away their hopes and dreams up on high his pedestal. Now we're going into round 2. PSU's got that first attack win. I wonder if they're going to capitalize, just start training some wins together and really sacrifice Rit to the gods of Rainbow Six here. As it looked like they did that with ease. They had everything working in their favor. The only thing that really backstepped them was Vidge getting fragged on by Deletionist, but then again, C-Nacho came up right behind him, and we knew them last time as the roaming pair moving back and forth, and C-Nacho out-fragging Deletionist at the very end, taking 2 off the board, both roamers gone. That gave up absolute map control, and Destroyer was just able to literally do what his name suggests and take out the entire upper floor area, giving him those lines of sight to absolutely frag on the anchors that were down below.
Yeah, and speaking to that, we can attest to the fact that Cafe does lean a bit more towards the defender-sided side, so getting any win on attack is definitely big, and especially if it is this first round. Penn State will be taking all the momentum onto their side, and they will be trying to attack this more difficult third floor site this round.
We just have to see as we do, as we're watching C-Nacho come towards the cafe as cool as a cucumber, a sea cucumber, if you will, going up and rappelling up to the side of that northwestern wall as we're watching some of the roamers kind of moving around. This time, they've opened up some more hatches to give themselves some escapes if they get pinched. As we saw last time, it looked like PSU was attacking from 2 different angles up top, pushing the roamers into a corner, and if it wasn't for that open hatch, it would have really hurt them to lose Deletionist right away. But again, at the end of it all, PSU did pull out for the win.
Yeah, and so Exile will be playing below, once again having a Nitro Cell in pocket with Deletionist all the way on the first floor. But I think the most interesting thing is going to be Nest set up inside of Piano. He's sitting over towards the bench corner of that white door. Some people have a colorful call out for that corner. But
I think it's called the Harry Potter corner, isn't it?
No, where Nest is right now, I'm gonna call it benches. It's like a pixel corner. So
just trying to get you
we'll
to say
be
it.
using all of his Goyo shields inside of Piano, trying to just slow down this attack, as Piano is a very big choke and powerful position for this third floor defense.
Going back towards deletion is holding the bottom of red. He's got to be very, very careful as Vidge put down a claymore just on the top of that middle balcony area. It's going to be interesting to see if he comes up taking a look. He's going to decide to just kind of hold. So it looks like PSU's got Jaws sitting up top, waiting for the push from the top. Vidge pushing into Piano, starting to get a bit of a command going here. Destroyer following with him, helping him out as the rest of PSU is really taking the entire west side of that upper floor. It's going to be difficult as Delicious decide to go back around the other way and see if he can frag someone through the top balcony banister area. And again, Mythic on that white hallway, taking some shots, but again, giving them right back and halting PSU's attack through that white corridor. Nest looking through Fridge. It's an awkward angle, but Vidge finds Nest through what looks like an interesting peek hole in that storage unit, but Deletion just gets Vidge as he pokes his head out just a little too far. And the C Nacho finds Deletionist. It is a back and forth, left and right. Both these people are just absolutely deleting the other team. But right now, as it seems, Rochester's really starting to get pulled apart. They have two guys left, Exile and BG, trying to hold sight. It's a 4v2, and there it goes as Destroyer finds both of them with headshots. Talk about giving out headaches left, right, and center.
Yeah, it did seem it was a really unfortunate peak from the Mazes. He did just seem to line up with that player playing over towards a Heaven area cocktail. But it did just seem as if Destroyer's play on the sledge was just a little bit too much to handle. So he just forced his way all the way down that white corridor, fragging anyone he saw, and just destroyed the defense, given his name.
Yeah, he put on the turbo jets that time. He was finding everybody's face. And again, Vidge also coming in with those crazy peaks through the little storage closet for Cigar, looking right into the fridge freezer area, finding Nest, who's just ended up peeking at the wrong time, showing the full body with the peak. And Vidge laid him out nice and quick, but Deletionist again with that extra frag coming from the bottom of the banister at the bottom of Christmas. And just handing out presents like Father Time himself.
Yeah, and Penn State is definitely proving why this is their map pick, as they have gone ahead and taken the first 2 rounds on attack, which is by no means an easy feat.
Especially on with the defending side of this map being at the advantage, especially with the different angles that you can do, as well as if properly defended, you take a lot of options away from the attacking side. Again, though, PSU showing why they are dominant on this map. Getting those first 2 rounds, it is going to be starting to put motor fluid in the bank as they're now ready to take the 3rd round, and it's all up to Rochester to stop them this time. If they're able to stop them in their tracks now, they give themselves a little bit of breathing room and string some wins together. We've got ourselves a game. If not, it might just end up being a blowout if they don't play this carefully.
Yeah, and that is the power of Penn State. Once they get rolling, they are a really hard team to stop. And when you have your own map pick where you're super comfortable and your roam clear has looked as flawless as it has for Penn State, it does make it very difficult for Exile and Deletionists to try to get any sort of momentum on their side.
Yeah, I'd like to talk to the engineer that made this train, because it seems to have no brakes as they're already getting themselves ready to take that top yet again. It looks like Destroyer going to come in through that new balcony drop, and a new red. Making sure he takes out that Goyo shield is no longer going to be able to stop them from pushing across and around. However, going up and around that way also causes yourself to be right out in the open. And again, just like last time, Deletionist was able to use that lower balcony banister to frag out Vidge as he stuck his head out a little bit too high, as Vidge already put down the Claymore. Deletionist again, the bottom of red, deciding to try and climb, but nobody's watching the backside. Oh, never mind. Vidge hears something. Looks like the guard dogs are barking as Deletionist now kind of moves himself down, causing a little bit of pressure, but he knows that they know that he knows that where they are. I don't know if that made any sense. But back over to the top side, we're seeing C Nacho taking down Nest. That's huge. There goes the Goyle. That beautiful vector weapon is amazing at taking people out at close range. As we see Deletion is starting to get flashed from atop. And the pressure is now on as PSU still full-fledged and full strength. Nest is the only one down, but Exile decides to frag back, taking down the C Nacho.
Yeah, and Mythic will be trying to lock down this white corridor with that powerful TCSG, but his Destroyer does seem to think that there is somebody trying to flank. Vidge is going to be using that same angle to cut off any rotation inside of Freezer. It's a beautiful pixel angle that is holding a very powerful position as Deletionist is below, trying to use some of these holes to maybe spot out an unsuspecting attacker and get some momentum back onto their side. 4v4 in this instance, the Diffuser is in the hands of Penn State, and they will have to make a move quite quickly, and a move that they will make here as Vidge goes ahead and takes out BG Smooth, but is gonna go ahead and be refragged out and put into a down but not out state.
Talk about being absolutely resilient. We're going to be watching him probably try to pick himself up if a teammate can't come get himself, which, yes, he does. He puts himself back at, what, about 5 health or so? As Deletionist still has to make sure he watches out for that Claymore on that red stairs. Very hard to see sometimes if you're not paying attention. Destroyer fragging out Exile. That's down to a 2v4. They're getting the Diffuser down as Mythic destroys Destroyer, but that's it for the Jaeger. Jaeger goes down. It is now down to a 1v3, but PSU has 2 guys who are very much lit. We'll have to see what happens. Does he decide to pick up his teammate and go for the full-fledged push between 2 members? And it looks like that might be what happens as we see Vidge over top of that new balcony looking towards heaven in the other side of the site. They're going to have to do this quick as there's only 23 seconds left on that Diffuser timer. Oh, and it looks like Mythic frags out Vidge. Deletionist finds Epic. It's just Jaws in the fridge now. He's holding, he's waiting, he's got all the time in the world. It's all onto him as there goes Mythic. Mythic goes down to him. Jaws is inside the freezer. He tags him, but there's no time left, and that goes the end. And Penn State wins round 3. Now they've put 3 together, albeit a very desperate attack. They almost crossfired them back over towards Rochester. But Penn State holding on to it. Jaws being able to clutch that out after a 4v2 almost went the wrong way.
Yeah, he used his killer instinct with those Jaws. He smelled the blood in the water, and he played that post plant perfectly. He was in a very strong position to watch the Diffuser, as well as in an unknown position that K just went ahead and turned his back to. Went ahead and downed him, didn't get too greedy, fell back because he knew that time was on his side and played it masterfully. As Destroyer is having an absolute heck of a match here, going 6-1-1, as the 3 straight rounds of attack is not something that you see on Cafe that often.
Yeah, and I guess I can tell you right now that Exile, Deletionist, BG, Mythic, and Nest are all telling themselves that they're going to need a bigger boat if they're going to take on Jaws when he's clutching like that. Because, again, that killer instinct came in. He laid down, played the prone gang move, and decided, I'm going to sit here and make him come to me. Even though the teammate had pinged his position, everything was known. The amount of time that was left on that Diffuser was just not enough. The pressure was on, and they were able to close it out. And that is a 3-0 win right now for Penn State on Cafe, and they still have to go on the defense.
Yeah, and now we are going to see a little bit of adjustment coming through on these RIT defenders as they will opt to go down into Reading Room Dining, which is a site we haven't seen thus far. We are seeing the implementation of a pulse who can be a really strong operator on this newly reworked map, as most of the floors are destructible, and therefore you can just go ahead and toss a nitro cell and blow out the entire floor from underneath an attacker and remove him without ever having to see him.
It's going to be interesting, especially with that picking up rather than going a different operator, using that pulse to be able to, as Vidge just takes him off the board, there goes the pulse. That is the bottom end security. There's no more sneaky Nitro. They still have some Nitros, but it's not going to be as effective. They're going to have to be able to use any sort of ability to ping or maybe call it out or ping it on with their regular character ping. And hopefully Mozzie can do something with a Nitro from below. But with Pulse off the board, that is a lot of sigh of relief coming from Penn State's attacking team that gives them a lot of momentum again. They have already taken one off the board. It's 4v5 now. Things are really working in their direction so far. And now they're just going to play this nice and smart. They're going to drone it out as Vidge pushes in and work together as that supporting team. Again, there goes that Claymore holding on the bottom red stairs. It's more or less stopped Deletionist from being able to flank on that red side stairwell. We're just going to see how this goes forward as there's about a minute 40 left in the 4th round.
Yeah, and the Mozzie pests are bringing some impact in, as there isn't really any drone work being able to be done. But speaking of that, Deletionist will go ahead and have a very powerful position and take Destroyer off of the map inside of Freezer. There are still 2 roamers upstairs as more shots will go out, but Vidge seems too strong as he picks up his 2nd kill onto Deletionist for the round. There is still 1 person left over by Heaven, and his position does seem to be subtly known, but BG will go ahead and just drop to safety and relinquish the rest of the map control up top. And now it is up to the rest of the attackers to try to blast open some holes and set up for their execute, as Exile is making a great rotate hole over onto red stairs, trying to get some sort of flank here, but it does seem like he might run into the
Claymore, and there it goes.
There we go. Vidge picks up his 3rd kill, on track for the ace here, putting a really strong showing out. Now, with 45 seconds left, it is going to be a little bit crazy, as there's still 5 people left alive and an execute has yet to be started.
I don't even think it needs much of an execute now with only 2 guys left. I mean, yes, they don't have the 4v2 where it is giving them the absolute advantage to be able to use those numbers, but it looks like Vidge is going to start opening up those strategically placed holes in that roof to start pushing them out of the sight. As we see, there's no rotate into the laundry area, but he's going to start taking down some of those shields and the extra pieces that they've got in play to stop the push. And here it comes, coming down white stairs. He's not looking the right way. And Jaws, oh my goodness gracious, the attackers win the round of this epic. Vidge and everyone else just decide to delete each other for the last 10 seconds going forward. Oof, BG getting found as he tries to get that frag out, and he gets dropped hard.
Yeah, and as we will see 4 straight wins going onto the side of Penn State, it isn't looking too great on the side of RIT, but we will have to see their exact mental fortitude as they push forward and try to make this map a bit more competitive. Anything can happen in Siege, as it is a very mental heavy game, as Mythic will be taking the polls once again, trying to get any sort of change for this map, to get any sort of momentum that they can.
It's going to be interesting because last time it was Vidge who found him through that train window. It wasn't even the IQ. But now that there's no IQ on the board to kind of constantly track where the pulse is going to be, to see if that changes anything, whether or not Mythic decides to find a nice little cubby hole and relax until the round starts. Because last time he was running around a lot, and again, just ended up being the wrong place, wrong time. Vidge opened up that window, and that was just basically it after that.
Yeah, it's not the best position that you want to be in, but it does seem as if this is just Penn State's place to play. They really know exactly how the map works and are really comfortable on it, hence why it's their map pick. But these rounds have been quite close. It's coming down to 2v1s, coming down to 1v1s, it's coming down to retake situations. It's not like they're getting full flawless every single time, so there is hope that RIT can just go ahead and get that extra pick that they need. It's just coming down so quickly. But speaking of coming down quickly, Sinacha will be going up quickly as the Amaru pick is coming out in full force.
And adopting the ancient Chinese way of the crane method, he's decided to fly right up to the top of the roof using that grappling hook to get up there nice and fast. Let us see if he does anything with it. He is trying to drone out, as we have already seen BG Smooth be found, and he's trying to figure out where exactly he can go to be safe. As Vidge he's already seen one through the little hole he made in the window. It's not Mythic this time, but it will be the Mozzie playing as Exile. He's got to get out of there fast, as it looks like Vidge is now rotated up top to cut off his movements for the freezer area. And it's going to be a trade-off as Exile and Destroyer get into it at close range, but the Destroyer of Worlds puts down the Exile. And for good measure, as that AR does a lot of damage up close. And it looked like Exile just wasn't landing any shots. He was panicking, he was backing up, he was trying to get in and out, but Destroyer was hot on his tail, and as we see him demolishing up top, trying to make some extra rotates for him and his team to move around flawlessly.
Yeah, and with a minute 40 still left on the board, getting that initial roamer pick is definitely big for PSU. As some wallbangs are going to go in trying to remove BG, but he will get taken out after Deletionist does get a pick onto C Nacho. But now 4v3, Deletionist is in a very tight position, but will use the pistol to take out Destroyer, take his second kill for the round, go prone, and unfortunately Vidge will read into that and go ahead and take his head off.
I don't know what to say. He was stuck in a hard place between a rock and a hard place, like I was saying, but he pulled out the pistol and kind of showed his teammates that, look, Destroyer can be killed. Look at this, with a pistol. But now we're down to a 3v2. Mythic and Nest holding on to site. Vidge opening up some extra hatches for teammates to go in and out to try and take out those rotates. Again, the laundry area not really being utilized too much by Rochester, but again, not too many of them left. As we're seeing Mythic and Nest, not exactly the greatest combo in the world, as Pauls turns the corner. Gets a couple of shots on him. I was expecting a frag at that point, but Vidge wasn't able to finish it off. Nest still holding hard on the site, putting down those smart charges, trying to stop their team from pushing in on them. PSU deciding to use that thermite, opening up that wall, and it's not looking good as Nest is now pushed out of his little bunker area that he's made, and Mythic trying to use that Nido for a kill. He misses. There's nothing there as Jaws takes down Mythic. It is all up to Nest. That SMG-11 is an absolute danger, but not when you've got 4 people running at you, or 3 people, I'm sorry, as Epic walks in and, like a good mechanic does, he empties the brain pan, ready for execution.
Yep, and it just seems as if this Penn State team's attacks are just so, like, perfect almost, like they're flawless. They're getting their roam clear, they're getting the picks they need, and their executes are going down with time. There's not a whole lot that RIT can do, because usually with about 45 seconds to a minute, it's down to like a 4v2 or 3v2 situation, which as soon as attackers have enough time to set up a full execute, you can be isolated out really easily, and you're just in a very bad position, which is what the anchors of usually Nest and Mythic have been trying to go against, and they just can't do it on their own.
Again, like you said, it's very, very difficult for them because it's not even that they're being completely destroyed. They'll have a couple of their guys just get picked because they're being pulled apart. It's a 5-man team working on 1 or 2 guys, putting them in a corner and putting them down like a lame animal. And they'll get a frag or 2, but then they lose complete map control. And after that, as long as the soft breachers are still alive, especially Destroyer with that big old hammer he swings, it causes a lot of problems for the defenders. Almost their entire site can be controlled by that top floor, by those extra lines of sight that can be created by demolishing that floor. It's very, very difficult. They're going to have to somehow combat this. If they're able to get an early pick-off on Destroyer and limit the amount of soft breach they have, which, again, they still have a fair bit, if they decide to, they can use those breach charges that C Nacho is bringing in. They can use those impacts that Vidge is bringing in with the Zofia. It's really, they've got a lot of soft breach utility. If they want to, although not completely advised, they can use those thermobaric charges to also open up rather large holes. So no matter who you take off the board, it's going to be a problem. They're going to have to figure out something here. As again, we're seeing Deletionist playing on that 3rd floor, looking up towards the skylight. He's noticing, looks like some drones coming in. And again, they're going to drone him out as Vidge is pushing in aggressive from the top of the old red hatch. Again, we've got 2 guys playing together. Hopefully they can support each other, as Exile's already taken 1 drone. He's going to use it for the rotate towards the white hallway from Piano. And they're going to try and hold this off against Vidge and Co., who are coming in now hard and fast. They've got a little bit of intel. They've kind of cornered them off. They know that there's somebody upstairs. They don't know how many, but they're about to run into each other. This one's now sitting at the bottom of white. It's going to be an absolute frag fest as Exile this time takes out Vidge. That's huge. There goes a little bit of the soft breach. Again, also one of the big fraggers. He's been holding a lot of these angles and just causing an absolute menace for RIT. But with that kill, Exile now puts a massive advantage on RIT for their defense. We're going to have to see what happens as Jaws, Destroyer, and the rest of them are now starting to pile in through Piano to try and take the advantage of that top floor.
Yeah, and C Nacho has actually taken reading control and will be trying to just absolutely lock down these roamers as they try to rotate away, such as when Deletionist drops this hatch, he might go straight into the arms of the Ash, and it does seem that way. But the Ash is gonna fall to Deletionist as the 416C is a little bit stronger than a 5.7 pistol that the Ash whipped out. However, Deletionist will be taking a whole lot of damage, but with a minute left, he is just gonna go ahead and sit in piano and try to lay a trap onto anybody going in to breach the floors.
Again, with that upper control, but with only 3 guys left, and now the advantage is solely on Rit's side with a 4-man team. They can kind of go anywhere. They have the numbers to repel them. They have to play this smart because now PSU is stuck upstairs trying to use some of that soft reach to open up holes to the second floor to see whether or not they're still being watched. As we're watching, Deletion is kind of move around. He's only got a little bit of health left. He has gotten that kill on Sea Cucumber upstairs as well as Vig. He's already at 2. Will he get a third or maybe even a fourth if he can get a sneaky flank on them? Just going to have to see how this pans out, as it looks like PSU's trying to play it as safe as possible. They're already opening up some of the open walls. And here we go as Deletion just takes Jaws. That's the big fin out of the water. And Destroyer also getting a frag going on the site. Mythic getting a kill on Destroyer. It is all up to... oh, man, Epic. And the defenders finally get a win. That it was a sorely needed round on their side. Let's see if they can get some more together and try to bring this back.
Yeah, they can still technically win this if they just go ahead and string together 6 offensive rounds, which definitely will be a tall hill to climb, but not impossible here as a 7-5. Game on their side is still within the realm of possibility. Here, Vig and company is just gonna try to ice out 2 more rounds to get their full win, and sort of, I believe that will clinch themselves into playoffs. If I do believe, I haven't looked at the standings completely, and I know that there is still a lot of games left to be played on everybody's side after this whole fiasco of spring break and the situations of other colleges.
Yeah, so far things are going to need to be spread out a little bit. Make sure you've got your 2-meter spacing between you and your friends, and stay safe as we get into round 7. RIT on the attack. PSU picking up the defense. We're going to have to see how they play differently on this defense and hopefully hold it together. Maybe clutch out the win on Cafe. It's going to be anybody's game, although it is heavily favored in Penn State's view right now.
Yep, and we will be seeing a change in sides as Penn State takes onto the defensive, and most likely will be their stronger side. Possibly we're seeing some interesting Maestro cams coming out from Epic, going on a high location in heaven. Going to be able to see a whole lot, as in addition to that, there is a Cade most likely going to be juggling this wall, trying to deny any entry into piano, and with Vig also taking that TCSG in addition to those Goyo Vulcan shields, it's going to be very hard for RIT to take any sort of map control. And if they do it, they have to go fast.
Even if they do it fast, all it takes is a bad dice roll, and those SGs finding anybody out in the open, their absolute slugs are... they're powerful and they can do damage. That's all that's needed to be said, as those guns can command long range against any attacker, as they do have the ACOG. They're able to take those long lines of sight and just absolutely deny the attack any sort of advantage that their ACOGs give them. But again, we're going to be watching this time RIT taking it a little bit slower, bringing in those drones first, trying to see whether or not they can take any of the different things out, as we're seeing the Cade Spider Claw being taken out. Took an extra one of those tasers because he got it on a bad angle, but he was able to take that wall. Now it's just their game to try and go in there, play smart, play together, play as a team, and really try to stop it, as we see C Nacho getting ready with that SG to start chunking up on some of these guys as they're coming up through that hole. He's got that Knight already. It's not in a good position, and it will be wasted. No damage done on the attacking side. Yeah,
definitely good patience from these attackers on RIT, not trying to get too clustered up to be safe from the Nitro Cell, but Nest will get the opening pick onto C Nacho and go ahead and remove his head, as well as the player playing on the Pixel corner will go ahead and retreat with his tail between his legs, as he does lose about 55 to 60% of his health. Scratch that, 100% of your health, as Exile goes in and gets another pick onto Jaws with that very fast shooting F2, and now there's full piano control relinquished for RIT to go ahead and make use of. There'll be some more breaching going in, opening up a path into sight, but Destroyer will be using this ACOG on the MP5 to try to take any long angles, but Vidge will be flanking and taking out Deletionist, but Nest will not be having the rest of it, as he goes ahead and gets his third kill instantly back onto Epic as well, leaving a 1v4 situation for Destroyer to try to go through, but the first shots will not connect onto the head of the IQ, and Plant will be going down. Now in a retake situation, Destroyer is going to have a very tall order ahead of him, but Nest is on a little bit low HP, but it's not enough, as Exile will just go ahead and take off the head of the dock and finish out the first attacking round for RIT.
And it looks like RIT just took all the fuel that PSU had and put it in their own fire, as they take the brakes off of their train and just let it go full force down the track. What a well-organized and executed attack, especially by taking that top red. After that, it was almost like there was no brakes on the train. They went right through. C Nacho could not stop them. Unfortunately, his Nido just ran a little bit short, not doing any damage to the attackers. They took him out with relative fashion. Coming around the corner, Jaws was sitting behind that Goyo over towards the white hallway. He was looking the wrong way and ended up getting shot at from Nest, who was holding the bar and piano area, pushed him back into the bathroom. And again, we watched Twitch come around the corner, pre-firing that corner, didn't see him, knew he went into bathroom, at least expected someone to be there. And as he turned the corner, dropped Cade, and that was basically it. Jaws couldn't go anywhere. He was in a down state. And, well, Exile finished the frag up, and that was just the end of it. There was no extra parts to that movie. And we're going to have to see how this gets changed around, because that was a commanding attack by Rin. That was the most life I think I've seen in them. What a different turnaround just by the switch of an attack like that. That surprised me greatly, and I'm quite happy to see it, as now things are starting to get back into that competitive motion.
Yeah, maybe we're just going to go and eat our words. Maybe Cafe is just an attacker-sided map for these two teams. As, like I said, anything is possible, and the momentum can start shifting really quickly here. 7-5 is still open for RIT, and that little glimmering ray of hope at the end of the tunnel is going to be what's guiding them as they push forward on the rest of their attacks.
Very much so, and we're going to be seeing Rit again take that commanding attack from the top. Vidge is downstairs in train. He's giving us a little wiggle because he knows we're watching. Going back up top again. Rit is just playing this together, and I think something must have been said in that 5-minute break, because that first round was almost immaculate. It was done at a very, very well-paced. They didn't stop. There was no hesitation. It was almost like they regained confidence. But we're seeing Vidge playing in the bottom of reading could be a problem if they don't watch their backs, as last time a lot of their guns were faced towards piano. And this is going to have to be, again, another side where Rit is going to have a few dice rolls in their side. And if it doesn't go their way, it might cause problems, but it doesn't matter, as Deletion just hits Control-Alt-Delete on C Nacho. Again, he's holding that outside area. This time he switched it up. He tried taking it from the cigar area, but Deletion has just found his face and emptied everything he had left. As again, Vidge is holding downstairs, trying to be smart about this. Exile's already in the cigar area. The rest of his team walking up red. They're trying to get a couple shots, as Jaws has already taken some damage. He shot through the cigar area with that Magnum 45 pistol, but it's not working. No damage done. And again, Rit starting to push into piano. Things are going to start getting hot, as Penn State's going to scramble to try and stop them and contain them.
There will be Jaws trying to use the reverse angle that we saw Vidge using last time, going from Freezer, trying to wallbang that little cigar cubby, but the rest of the attackers have pushed fully into piano, trying to get these breaches down, as Mythic will be trying to open up his path to plant in a safe location, but Vidge is still on the prowl below, coming up white stairs and gonna be trying to take out as many attackers as possible. 45 seconds left on the clock, and Exile is crouch walking in, but Destroyer will just go ahead and take him with a tap to the head, but will be refragged out instantly by Nest, who's been playing a really strong IQ with that G8A1 LMG looking quite well. Mythic is going to go ahead and flash and try to push in, but Nest will take out Jaws and just continue his reign of terror on this top floor. Maestro will be peeking out, trying to do what he can, but Vidge goes ahead and finds the diffuser and takes out Mythic. Diffuser's on the ground with 19 seconds left. There's not a whole lot that these attackers can do. They need to push in and either get the kills or pick up this diffuser, and time is running out. Speaking of that, Vidge will go ahead and take down Nest as he is just holding down this freezer. But when the trades all go down, BG Smooth proved too strong and took out everybody on this beautiful flick and double kill cam.
Talk about opening up his cloak and showing him that he's no longer Gandalf the Grey and goes Gandalf the White mode, taking 2 headshots at the final seconds of that round to win it for the attack. That is 2 in a row. It was a much more desperate attack that time, but they've got 2 in a row now, and I'm already getting my fork and knife out. I don't know about you, but I'm heating up my words and I'm ready to eat.
Yeah, both of us here casting will be eating our words, as it really does seem as if Cafe's looking more towards the attacking side. Nest has definitely picked up his stuff, and I believe he's gotten all 5 of his kills on attack. He was playing a bit more of a support role on defense and was getting almost left out to dry as our PSU just forced their way in. But now that he's playing on attack, he's sort of creating the engagements on his own terms, is able to just take out these PSU defenders with ease.
This time, though, Nest has decided to switch off of the IQ that he's been doing so well with for Buck. It's going to be interesting, but again, they're going to be playing in Kitchen. I'm guessing he's expecting that. So far, it looks like they're going to be, again, taking it from the top, using a lot of that soft breach to open it up. Hopefully, Nest can stay alive long enough to use that skeleton key to start opening up those so-called doors in that roof and give his team every advantage to try and stop. But it's gonna be difficult. They've gotten 2 together so far. Will they be able to get a third? It's down to them and their mental fortitude, as we're seeing C Nacho putting down those castle barricades, stopping any real attack coming through. It looks like prep so far, and it looks like PSU has left 1 wall soft on the white hallway right in front of red. And
yep, that will most likely be used as a rotate for the rest of these PSU defenders to just hop in and out and take engagements inside of Bakery. It definitely is a quite interesting setup here, as the Bandit will not be fully safe if red control is relinquished, but there is some instant aggression as Exile is all the way up inside that bottom red area we call Harry Potter.
Yeah, and we're going to be watching some Harry Potter business probably coming from that corner, as we see Exile kind of walking around that area. It's going to be interesting to see as Exile gets a frag on Destroyer, and already the advantage is starting to go in favor of Rit, as that's a headshot out of nowhere. Talk about being Randy Orton and the RKO Master. As Nest getting those frags ready, they've opened up some of the walls that were not armored up, and I'm still kind of puzzled. They've basically given them free walls, as we're going to see Vidge coming down that red stairwell, looking the wrong way. He's going to frag out on Exile. It was not capitalized, and Vidge now takes down another. That's 2 in a row. Vidge, though, gets... Oh, never mind. Deletion has killed Joss, as Vidge is still going on a tear. He takes out the infestation known as Nest. He has now gotten 3K in the same room as Small Bakery. Now he's decided to walk out and go back and try to recuperate, as he just got that 3K, giving his team a huge advantage. RIT looked like they were setting up to take this one again for another win. But Vidge puts his flag in the ground, draws a line in the sand, and says, "You shall not pass." And this is going to be heavily in their favors. We're seeing C Nacho playing from upstairs. Prep is going to be very, very difficult to go through, as we see Deletion is starting to kind of peek in through that doorway. But again, C Nacho upstairs, up 45. He's going to have everything in his advantage, as it's going to be more or less Deletionist play, whether or not he goes in there, and he's going to get fragged out if he's not watching carefully.
Yeah, Sinacho's playing a very strong position here, but the wall has been open for RIT. And speaking of that deletionist, we'll go ahead and delete Vidge off of here, ending his reign of terror that was above. Unfortunately, the castle did just see the feet of the Zofia, but will not be able to see him. But the diffuser has gone down as Sinacho refrags onto Mythic. In a 1v1 instance, deletionist doesn't seem to know that he's above, and Sinacho will just ice out this round, playing the entire upstairs masterfully.
Oh, that almost has to hurt. Rit was so well put together. They were so ready to go and do things and get that win for that attack and string 3 together. And it just, C-Nacho said, I don't think so, and doused the flame of hope with a big old bucket of water from the sea, leaving it just absolutely an absolute mess. That's got to hurt. Vidge also, that 3K in small bakery on the side completely took out any of the fuel that they had left on that attack. It was very much up to Rit at that point to fall back and try and turtle their way in, or again, they've tried putting some extra hope in it. They tried grabbing the Axe body spray with the Bic lighter and light things back up, but unfortunately with C-Nacho sitting upstairs and that call out not getting brought out fast enough, it just didn't work in their favor, and that is the end of it as PSU takes that round. It is now 6-3. I guess the best that they can hope for is the tie, as Rit now has to go forward.
Yeah, PSU has gone ahead and clinched out at least a partial win due to their abilities and performance on border last time. However, this is Rochester's time to just go ahead and snipe a point away from Penn State, as the difference between tying this map and winning it will just be a full point, as you could just have the full win. If Penn State's able to get another round, they'll get 3 points, but if Rochester is somehow able to tie this up, Penn State will only get 2, which could spell disaster, as they are fighting with Florida for the #1 seed in their division, as they are both tied at 7 currently.
And again, now we're back in. It's match point. Penn State 6-3 against Rit. They're going to have to do some serious Harry Potter business on this one, as it looks like we've got ourselves a couple of spawn peaks. Being a little bit cheeky, Bandit rolling around as C-Nacho. He's got the confidence to do it, and he's definitely held his team together with that clutch against that 2-man team after his teammate went down. But again, Rit losing 3 members to Vidge on a flank and just not landing their shots, as Vidge was hurt almost the entire time after that first gun duel. That was very much them to lose, and unfortunately, they just couldn't bring it together. It was just a bad roll of the dice. It happens all the time, but again, this is up to them now. They have to clench this out. They have to play smart, but they can't be too conservative to the point where they start pulling back and not pushing when they should. They're going to have to play this in almost absolute perfection to push forward with this one.
Yes, and speaking of Vidge, he is still just running rampant, hiding in all sorts of covers and stuff, but he has escaped all the way down the white stairs, and he will be rotating into reading room, trying to find any unsuspecting attackers who might have already droned to the 2nd floor. He's trying to use his position in a very powerful way, as he has masterfully just sort of navigated the map and gotten behind a whole lot of attackers. As we've seen here, Jaws will be playing this bench corner with this TCSG, which is a very powerful weapon, as both the attacker and defender were trying to use pixel angles, but neither of them lining up quite well. We are seeing C-Nacho getting a little bit aggressive on the bottom of garage, trying to find any unsuspecting repelling attackers, but it did seem as if he was a little bit too late, as Exile has gone ahead and swung in, and the rest of RIT is just barreling inside of Piano.
One thing we're going to have to watch for is Vidge. Last time I saw him, he was at the bottom of a cafe having a coffee. Now he's in the laundry room folding a few things before he decides to get in this game. He knows he has all the time in the world. He is waiting for Rit to make their move and become too overwhelmed with what's going on in sight, so that way he can then capitalize. As he did last time, he was able to overwhelm 3 of the Rit attackers, taking them down in the exact same spot as Destroyer now takes out Exile. The advantage is on PSU, but then Destroyer gets taken down. Nest with that IQ LMG doing serious work. Mythic getting down that diffuser just right next to bars. It looks like Epic pulls down Nest. That's huge for PSU. as the diffuser's now down and the time is chunking away. We're seeing Vidge starting to pull up, and they think they know Vidge is coming, but he gets the absolute drop on BG Smooth, and Mystic is now the only one left. Oh, he takes down. Oh my goodness gracious. Sinacho goes down, and then Vidge finds Mythic, and the flank by Vidge again doing serious damage to Rit's attack, coming up and taking all the wind out of their sails. That's Penn State's victory right there.
Yeah, and that ices out the play that we will see for the rest of the night as Penn State goes ahead and takes the full win, and in 7-4 on Border and 7-3 on Cafe fashion. We will be back to you soon, as we will be, I believe, getting an interview from a player on Penn State. No, actually, we'll go ahead and just stay because we should be able to get this person in pretty quick. Hopefully, we will be able to ask the right questions for you guys to enjoy and really get the full understanding about what was going on behind the scenes as these players were playing.
Very much so. I can't believe the adaptability that PSU brought to that last map, especially with Vidge being almost cornered for the first couple of rounds. Rit getting some very, very good pushes together as one, as a team, as a unit, supporting themselves, pushing right onto site and just capitalizing on it. They could not stop him at all. And after that, it just turned out that Vidge sat in one place where they were not going to expect him. And he just sat there and he waited. Like that last round, sitting in cafe, drinking a coffee, going and folding his laundry. And then coming back to the game where Rit was deciding to go for the attack, and there were no eyes really watching the backside. There was one. He was holding that upper red spot, but unfortunately did not have the hard enough angle. Vidge was able to find the even finely cut angle onto the head, killing him, running up, and then taking Mythic out as he was the last one defending the diffuser, and he clutched out the round.
Yeah, so we've actually gotten some confirmation that we will be having Epic.psu coming in here. He is one of our casting brothers in arms, and we hopefully will have a really good interview coming in very shortly. And speaking of that, there he is. Hello, Epic. How are you?
Very good, very good.
So run me through how you guys adapted to those first two attacking rounds of that cafe map against Rit. Rit came in a very commanding way, getting both of those wins rather quickly and with almost little resistance. But then that third round turned around so much. And then after that, it seemed like you guys took away their confidence almost completely. What was going through your guys' minds after that second round?
Didn't we go? I think we just stayed top 4. I honestly don't even remember. I mean, we just said, screw it, run it back. If we stayed, I honestly don't remember. We just said, calm down, keep going with it. Just played our game the whole time. I mean, like, I don't know. I feel like whenever people talk about, like, going through your thought process, we just keep playing our game. We don't think anything of it. Like, we do talk about the past round, and sometimes we do get a little, like, heated, but then we just, like, sort of calm down and come back in the next round and take it.
Yes, definitely. Very true. I know I've done a few interviews where it is sort of hard to put your exact thought process into words. But speaking of process, how do you feel that the map bans went for you?
I think they went pretty fine, to be honest. I'm pretty sure there's some sort of stats floating around out there that tells everyone what maps we ban, and we haven't changed at all. We only change our bans when someone bans our default bans, obviously. When we picked the maps, I was pretty happy with them overall. Like, I saw the 3 maps that were available, and I was like, all right, I'm happy with 2 out of the 3. The third one I was a little okay with, and we didn't end up playing it. So I was totally confident going into both maps.
Yeah, so it's sort of built into the ideology that you don't take Penn State to Border, but they did. However, after this win, it does seem as if you will be taking first place in your division, and you sort of have to just wait on exactly how University of Florida performs in their final game. How are you looking to look forward to playoffs?
I mean, I've looked at the possibilities and the teams that are there. Like, there's just a couple that I'm looking at and thinking, yeah, okay, that would be a good game. It'd be a bit of a game that I'm looking at and I'm like, okay, I want to look at Vaz maybe. But besides that, whoever we get, we'll just play, move on. I'm not super scared. I wasn't nervous for this game or the next cross division game, which is happening next week. I mean, I think all of us just on Penn State, we just take our game as it comes. We don't really just we don't hyper focus on it and shut everything out. Like we're just calm, chill, and just again take it as it comes.
Yeah, it definitely seemed that way, especially on border there. There was a couple times where it kind of went back and forth, and it seemed like Rochester was able to close out Vidge for a couple of rounds with them trading frags back and forth on him. And it seemed like you guys decided to pair C up with him and support him on the roam, and it definitely countered everything they seemed to be of doing at that point. As you guys, after pairing those two guys up, they weren't able to really string any wins together or even have much confidence in the push to begin with.
Yeah, no, border was definitely kind of going back and forth, and I noticed that too. And I was like, all right, let's calm down and stuff. I mean, one of our guys was having, he was not having his game on border. Like I don't remember the final round or the second to final round had a TK on me because he was swinging in. Destroyer was unfortunately just having a bad game. But again, we calmed down between maps, like I said, and on Cafe we had a better game for sure. I feel like it was a better game. Maybe not.
110%. Especially from our side, on attack against a defending team, especially considering the two of you are at pretty much the same skill level. You guys commanded on your attack side. Destroyer at the very beginning, coming with some huge frags, and you guys were just able to take complete control and almost look like you guys were using water buckets to wash down a sandcastle on their defense.
Yeah, no, it was pretty good in the half 5-1, and took a couple rounds there, but then we brought it back.
Yep. Do you have anything else to say, Spades?
Nope, that's really much it.
Alrighty, so Epic, you told me earlier that you haven't casted in a while. Do you want to go ahead and thank our sponsors?
Yeah, I want to thank our sponsors. I want to thank Rogue Energy, NEU, and Corsair.
Yeah, I think we're all good. Make sure to use code CEA when you check out on those websites. So I think this has been a beautiful Monday night cast of Invite League. So I've been CDAPS.
And I'm the one true Spades.
And
we'll
we'd like
see
to
you
wish you a
next
good
time.
night.
Wishing that I could run away with you. Imprisoned by fear, just pull me away, pull me away. Secret fantasies of me. Will they ever see the light of day, light of day? I don't know where you are, but I will find you. I will find you. fear just pulled me away.